Who's hosting?
I'll take the reins from now.
yeah,
Wow,
that
was weird.
Sorry,
I did not expect
audience.
that.
None of us, we all just came to the same realisation of who's speaking.
We just looked at each
Who's
other. That
hosting
was
this
strange.
I hosted the last one. I can't do 2 in a
Yeah,
row.
of course.
Oh,
All right
too
then.
much on my brain.
Hi guys, welcome to Zhengzhou Unchained. Today is the 9th podcast. Yeah, we're doing well. Quite a few there. We're soon going to be going on our trip to Southeast Asia.
Actually,
We're not going to Southeast Asia?
we are. But
Right.
when we release this, we
Yeah.
will already be in Southeast Asia.
Well, yeah, we are, yeah.
So-
I think we
this
will
is-
currently be in Cambodia, I think, the middle one.
Maybe, potentially. We'll see.
Yeah.
We might be on
I
the
think-
way, yeah.
We'll upload it on the
Wi-Fi
bus.
On the
bus.
bus.
On the Wi-Fi
The
bus.
buff.
On the
buff.
buff.
The buff.
Wi-Fi bus.
Samuel Jackson. Kingsman reference there, guys.
We
Sorry.
watched it last night.
Yeah. Sorry, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, so you've just heard our terracotta one. God, my oh my God, what is going on?
You're being shocking.
Today we're going to be talking about TV shows.
Very good.
Yeah.
Got that.
And our favourite TV shows, what we've all seen together, and also some of our individual ones as well, which
That we're watching at the moment.
we could recommend to each other as well. So, Amy,
Oh.
start us off.
Are we starting with favourites?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Pick what? Pick one.
Pick one. Very, very difficult.
Yeah.
But it's an obvious one for me. I say it's difficult, but it's obvious.
Very controversial.
Gavin and Stacey.
Yes.
I genuinely believe that Gavin and Stacey is the greatest TV show of all time because, yeah, the technology and the fashion is a bit outdated, but the humour is just timeless. It's just wonderfully done, and James Corden's been downhill from there, really.
I think everyone is in agreement of
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, definitely. We all watched it
we watched
together.
it as a group, and it was just...
And we just loved it. It really brings us back to home. I think everything about it was just so lovely.
There's a nice mix of like stereotype in the characters, but also that you can kind of relate to, but also they're so mental that they've got their own kind of individual personalities, which was good. And it was my first run through. I'd never seen it up until then, which I don't know why.
I found that shocking.
I don't know. My family never watched it, and it was never on TV, and I was just like, just went straight over my head. But yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, I think that was probably my 10th,
Yeah,
11th,
same.
12th time watching it. It's
Are
just,
you
so
serious?
rewatchable.
honestly, it's it's one of the most timeless things I've ever watched. It's just so easy to just sit through. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I really wish they would have made more.
Nah, to be honest, I was quite happy because the third season, even though it's still great, you can see like
Cracks.
the love is still there, but it's just not as good as season 1 or 2.
I think the whole thing is just one great block story.
Of course,
and,
I agree. It's fantastic.
Some of the scenes are just...
There's not a character that I don't hate.
Dave Coaches.
Dave Coaches is fantastic.
Dave is
I
hero.
No, you see,
love Dave.
I have least favourite people.
Did we rate them?
Yes, we did rate
rated
them.
all the characters.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be interesting what people think about that if you could rate the characters. But everyone says they hate Stacey, and yes, she is the most
Annoying.
awful, annoying person on the show. But she still
The glue.
makes the show, doesn't she?
She's the titular character.
Yeah.
She is one of the 2 titular characters.
Yeah,
so. No, I love every character in their own way, but I have my personal favourite. And I think, speaking for nearly everyone who's watched the show, Bryn and Nessa are the 2 best.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Bryn and
gosh, I
Nessa.
thought he was going to say Bryn then. No, Nessa's...
And
Bryn and Nessa.
Michael.
Yeah.
I don't think I could... Yeah, Mick is a legend.
I love Mick.
Mick is... And Pam, to be fair, Pam is great.
I just think
And
Mick
people
edges
hate
it.
Gwen, but Gwen is such an essential character to have.
Would you like an omelette?
Gwen's great.
Gwen's
great.
She is.
Gwen is great.
Yeah, I do like her. Again, she just adds something different, doesn't she? She's not necessarily...
She just balances everybody out.
Exactly, yeah.
What
You
with
need
Door next door and...
Oh, Doris.
Doris.
Yes.
What a lass.
I'm absolutely twatted.
No, Nessa is my favourite. I
Yeah.
think she's just she's she's the real face of it. I think,
I think so.
and the brains of it because she
Yeah, her and James Corden,
Her and
yeah.
James Corden, right.
Her stories obviously not real, but I just think they're fantastic. And some of the stuff she says.
They're real in that universe.
What's your favourite episode?
Oh god, I don't think I have a favourite episode. I have favourite scenes. I think probably my favourite scene from the top of my head is season 1, episode 5, when they go to the church and Smithy doesn't want to go, and Smithy is like well pissed off, and then the vicar is asking what are people's favourite sandwiches, because sandwiches are a lot like God, and Doris likes a tuna, Father Chris, Uncle Bren just likes a cheese, the Welsh guy,
what's his favourite?
Dick Powell, is translated. He speaks only in Welsh, obviously, but what we think he said was Glamorgan sausage and chicken, which is a strange choice.
No.
But it was his choice, which is what the vicar says. And
it's
then,
a good sandwich.
And then the vicar just shouted at Gavin because he didn't understand the concept of the sandwich.
Yeah, he wanted a different sandwich, didn't he? From him.
Yeah.
My favourite episode is the episode where they've come back off holiday and they all go out for an Italian.
Yes.
Oh, and they're on the toilet.
Capriccios. Who's Seth?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll start a salad.
And then obviously when Smithy finds out that, spoiler.
Oh yeah, for the whole thing, things are going to get spoiled in this, right? TV shows are going to get spoiled, so if you haven't seen them, just mute it for like 5 minutes and then come back to us. But
just don't listen, which
most
of you are.
There are going to be spoilers.
No, let's
TV
not allude
shows.
to anything.
No, we're not going to.
I thought maybe in the description we could talk about if we go into in depth and end up spoiling anything. Like anything recent, because I mean, who cares about Gavin and Stacey?
Okay, so why don't we just like not care about ones that predate maybe 2014?
Okay, so I can spoil Breaking Bad then.
Yes.
Right, and that's really
and then
that's
anything else, just kind of dance around it.
I might spoil The Simpsons.
Oh,
if I'm feeling like it.
Damn.
That's such a long story though. All right, keep going.
Ned Flanders' wife dies, doesn't she?
Favorite episode.
Oh,
yeah, that was my favourite episode.
Fantastic.
The one where Smithy finds out that Nessa is pregnant.
Christmas special for me.
Oh,
just leave it at that. Just
I
we know
think
it's
so
awesome.
too.
We know it's awesome. It's good stuff.
Oh no.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say you're eating ham, Pam, but that's from a different
That's
episode.
a different episode.
Yeah.
I
Still a
think
good quote.
each one has their moments, and everyone is quotable. So it's a great pick, Amy. I have to agree. It's probably my favourite British show that's ever been made, and I'd say it's a close second to my favourite show,
Which is
Breaking Bad.
Yes,
that's a good segue, wasn't it?
Yeah, well done.
Breaking Bad. I remember I watched this. I think it was during A levels. Can't remember if it was first or second year of A levels, and I watched it in about a month. I was hooked. I watched season 4 in one day.
What, during your A levels?
Mm-hmm.
Can I just give a really funny anecdote about that? Because I do remember someone that we were friends with I think she was going to show you a text or something, and you hadn't finished the whole show yet, and she had, and she showed you a screenshot of someone dead on the floor. I never
saw the screenshot. I never saw it.
That sounds like a lie.
I never saw it, honestly.
Who was it?
Really?
I never opened it. Yeah.
It was Hank dead on the floor.
Oh.
And she she
I never saw
shoved
that.
it in his face basically.
I never saw it, literally.
But you weren't really mad.
Spoiler.
Because
I think it was Hank. No, it was Walt. It was Walt dead at the end of the show.
No,
Does he die?
It was Hank. It was definitely
Does he die?
Hank.
Does he die? Because they're making a film now.
Could be a prequel.
No, it's not, because they're both confirmed.
Oh.
Both Walt and Jesse have been confirmed. But yes, anyway, Breaking Bad for me is my favourite show. I just think it tells a complete story from the first episode to the last of this one guy's derail into the meth world. Like, he starts off like it's going to be just providing money for his family so his family can get by after he dies, but then he just gets hooked by this industry, and it's just fantastic to watch his slow decline into madness and almost like torturing his apprentice almost, Jesse, and just every character has just got their own uniqueness, and the spin-off as well, Better Call Saul, is also fantastic, and Jesse is one of the best characters ever written. I think Walt is fantastic.
Mike
is amazing.
Mike.
Gustavo Fring is amazing.
Yes.
Tuco Salamanca for his brief stint in the shows, and so terrifying.
Very good character.
I think front to back, it's got loads of fantastic characters and just a fantastic overarching story. It's just brilliant.
I'm going to throw a curveball there.
Go on.
There's some stories in there that kind of make me, when I look back at it, I think, what was that all about? There was a scene where there was people crawling on the floor, army crawling on the floor.
Oh yeah, the Tuco's cousins.
Yeah. And they go and they see the
in the
picture
desert.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just little things like that. Every now and then, it kind of.
But I think some may call it stupid. I think I would almost call it stupid, but I think it's almost like, what's your interpretation of what they're doing?
Ooh,
but
fair point.
Do you really think Breaking Bad goes that deep?
Yeah, absolutely. It's got loads of layers.
I never finished it. I didn't get hooked.
Here's an example of how. So Vince Gilligan is the maker of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and in the second season of Better Call Saul, the episode title of each one spelled out, the first letter of each episode title spelled out Fring's back, and then in the third season, Gustavo Fring was back.
You're eating very
So
loudly there.
that's how, like,
I didn't see the second series.
yeah, it does
Or the
go.
third or the fourth.
So yeah, when people have these ridiculous, like, sometimes
Theories.
He's very creative with his episode titles. I have seen that, and it is creative.
In season 2, it led up to the whole plane crash at the end of the season, and it was like episode 1, episode 4, episode 8, and episode 13, I think, was 737 down over ABQ, and 737 was the number of the plane down because it crashed over Albuquerque. ABQ is Albuquerque's short code, and I just thought,
don't eat anymore, right?
that was cool. Sorry, I am eating Skittles, viewers.
Yeah, because we get Skittles in China. We just really found that out
They're vile,
properly.
We did find some Maltesers, but they were £6
for a box that would normally be about 2.
Yeah.
And we also got
depressing.
Milky Ways, which are legit.
Yeah.
And they were only like £2.
Oh, yeah, I need
They're
to have one.
fantastic.
Yeah, I'd like to have one.
Eat them
Not right
before
now,
I eat
but
them all,
yeah,
please.
okay. Anyway,
So Breaking Bad, moving on.
Great story.
Why don't we go to Beth next?
Yeah, go to Beth.
Thank you. My favourite TV show ever. It seems like a bit of a strange choice, but it just, nothing has surpassed it for me, no matter how old I grow, is The Simpsons. There's episodes of that I think I could probably just recite, because they're just, and some of them are just note perfect, like, they're just funny start to finish, and like, I think I'm talking like seasons 1 to 12 probably. Like after that, it's just like the new ones are just ridiculous. I don't know why it's still going. It's just a bit tragic, really. They should have stopped after the Simpsons movie, in my opinion. But
Simpsons movie was great.
Yeah, that was great. But yeah, I think episodes like The Simpsons Files and Cape Fear, and like just the fact that it's still so popular. There's still people that quote it, and it's getting memed, so must be pretty good. You don't see many well, no, actually there is a Futurama meme.
There's loads of Futurama memes.
The only one I can think of is it Fry?
The Fry squid, but there's also the professor when he's like, I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Yeah.
See, that's my.
Well, is it Marge Simpson dancing?
Is it steamed hams?
Marge Simpson dancing?
Yeah, I've not seen
Homer
that
going
one.
back into the head.
Oh,
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Oh, and the new one is the worst day of your life so far. That's the newest meme that
Really, I
keep seeing
haven't
everywhere.
even seen that.
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Wow. Yeah, I want my old memory of The Simpsons is putting it on after school at 6 o'clock
Every
After
day on
Neighbours.
Channel 4.
Hollyoaks.
After Neighbours.
Is it Neighbours?
No, it's before Hollyoaks.
Before Hollyoaks. Yeah, because you always
It
hear
was
that.
Neighbours,
And then you just turn the TV off, don't you? Yeah. That's how it normally goes. But yeah,
It's the worst sound in the world.
Great memories watching The Simpsons.
That's how I got into it. I don't even remember how old I was when I first started watching it. And then I just remember vividly being very scared by the Simpsons Files episode, which is when Mr. Burns is a green alien. Spoilers.
That music.
Great
That
episode.
Yeah,
music.
the
Oh my
X-Files
God.
music. Yeah, it's scary. Treehouse of Horror episodes as well. Some
They're
ones that are
always my
genuinely
favourite.
like a little bit disturbing. Like at one point, their skin goes inside out and all that stuff. It's not.
There's some of my favourite episodes. I love the James Bond house one, which is like Space Odyssey, and I love Simpsons. Is just
I've not seen any of those episodes. Like
brilliant.
I'm sure you probably have.
I didn't grow up with The Simpsons. I grew up with Futurama, and I think Futurama is, in my opinion, it's better.
Not your turn.
I'm just throwing a spanner into the works.
I understand, but you were wrong.
Is it not? Maybe if Futurama had been shown at 6:00 every weekday, I would be into it as well. But as it happens, it wasn't, and
much less accessible. It was always on Sky One, wasn't it? Futurama, not on Channel 4.
That's why I didn't have Sky either, but my dad did. So Futurama was.
I did enjoy it. I do like some of the characters. I do like it, but it's just The Simpsons has been a constant, always there, always on after school.
Apologies for the dog.
If you can hear that.
It's a beautiful border collie, but it's very squeaky.
Is that the border?
It lives next door.
I don't think there's another dog in here. There's a poodle.
I've never seen the poodle.
There's about 50 million poodles on this complex because everyone has the same dog, which is like a tiny little. Anyway.
Futurama, Futurama is great. There's like The Simpsons, but I've not seen any of apart from the Halloween one where they think Marge is a witch. I've never seen an episode like a. Oh, that dog is so annoying.
I'll make you like a best of list.
Yeah,
honestly,
I've not seen like an episode that's like completely themed. Whereas Futurama, they deliver to planets, so every planet they go to is a different thing that they deal with, and like one of them is where they go to see some what are they called, Amazonian women one, and the whole theme is about feminism and stuff. It's really clever. It's really cool.
Is that where they have hands on their heads, or is that's Rick and Morty? Sorry, don't matter. Yeah, but that's
Rick and Morty as well.
It's a good one.
On the same level,
it's,
but a little bit
sterner,
dirtier.
TV show. That's good. But
I've not seen that. Okay,
it's great.
Tom, what is your favourite TV show?
What are you talking about?
It's definitely not that.
Is it the Big Les show?
It's Filthy Frank.
Filthy Frank.
Filthy Frank is the highest rated thing on IMDb. Strange fact for you.
It's not your favourite TV show, though, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's The Wire, which is rated 9.5 on IMDb.
I thought you were going to go with Game of Thrones.
Big that bitch. No. We're going to mention Game of Thrones, but
I completely right. Let me.
I just wanted to be different because that's just me. But I love The Wire, and I say it all the time to these guys that I love a big cast, and they all have a share of the screen time. So there's not a main character, and you love them and you hate them.
Simpsons has a big cast.
They do, yeah, and some of them die actually as well, because I like it when they eventually die or something happens to these characters which really grips you emotionally. And The Wire is a great story of basically the city of Baltimore in America, and it's probably going to be the same with all American cities, just the drugs and the issues with crime and the black kids struggling in the ghettos and the policemen who have to suppress them, but they kind of feel bad because they're in such a bad situation. And then talking about the gang lords and then the politics, and it's just such a vast story, so many layers, and so many big names have come from that, such as Idris Elba and people like that. It was really, really good show. And another little IMDb fact for you: apparently, the government got into contact with the writer of The Wire to tell him to turn down how realistic it was, because gang leaders were watching the program to find out how to avoid getting arrested, like they do in the program.
Really?
It's really realistic, but sometimes people don't appreciate because it is quite a bit boring sometimes as well. If you know what I mean. To certain people, yeah.
Wow.
I like that about shows. We'll talk about Game of Thrones soon. I like the parts in TV shows where a character develops through conversation, and it's not an obvious point towards somebody's sad history in their story or whatever, but it's like it just comes out through their speech, and that's what I really like in TV shows.
Good stuff.
Good. Yeah.
I have been meaning to watch it for.
I was going to bring the DVDs. I forgot. I was going to bring the DVDs.
Knows how long I've been wanting to watch it.
For some reason, The Wire doesn't really appeal to me, but I think that's just because I think crime I say that.
You like the murder stories?
I love crime documentaries more than anything else on Netflix, probably.
Can I just say, Barack Obama's favourite TV character was in The Wire. Another reason to watch it.
Who was that? Idris Elba?
No.
That's the only one I know from that.
Yeah, me too.
It was this. No, it was
Go
just
on.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. Just crime, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, there was a load of BBC TV shows that came out, and it was all crime and stuff, and they just got really repetitive and samey. So
Do you mean like fiction ones like
Yeah.
NCIS or stuff like that? Because they're tat. They're just
Yeah, I know, but I
And
just
the kind of where it's just like a man and a woman, and they're detectives, or they're and there's just some body that's been found. Like, do you mean those kind of
Midsummer Murders.
ones that my
Someone-
mum absolutely
Hey,
loves?
Rosemary in
Midsummer
Time.
No, they're fantastic.
No.
Rosemary in Time is fantastic.
Nah, Poirot.
Poirot, what? Are you kidding me?
No.
Poirot's great.
I prefer the
Agatha
actual
Christie, are
stories.
you kidding?
Yeah, but come on, it's good. That's why it's on daytime TV, because your grandma can watch it, not you.
Well, thanks, Andrew. He was the one who was always watching it.
I don't understand how you like crime and crime documentaries, but you can't watch horror films. Because to me, I can't watch most horror films. I have a couple of exceptions, but I can't watch most horror films, and which we will talk about in a minute. The Ted Bundy tapes, which we've all watched. Well, apart from Ed.
3 of us have watched it.
Have you finished it now, Beth?
Yeah, I finished it a couple of days ago. And that had me up at night. That was like, that really scared
To be
me.
honest, the reason why I hate horror films isn't, I'm not scared of like gore or whatever. I love a great murder. It's the build up to a jump scare that I know is coming. I just can't stand it. I just cannot stand it.
Me too.
Cheap.
And I can't,
Cheap
like,
entertainment.
my friend Louise was telling me about this one scene that's in Get Out, I think it is, where a guy is like running like full pelt at the camera. And I'm like, oh, stuff like that, I just don't.
Get Out is amazing.
I'd rather hear about things and be told on a documentary than actually watch it.
I think you'll be fine with that, because to me, one, it doesn't make you jump, and two, I actually found it a little bit comical, like the way it was filmed. It was no. I mean that specific moment where he's running.
Oh, you actually
Because
found
he
that scene unintentionally funny. Really?
Because of the way he's just running like a bit of a mug, and I just thought that
Very straight arms.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it. No.
Get Out is brilliant.
I might watch it on.
We're getting really off topic.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Get Out is
Yeah.
great. Talk about Ted Bundy.
Yeah,
or
please.
Yes,
something else.
okay,
Yeah.
so on my little list here, I have a massive chunk of non-serious TV shows, and then in my serious, there's just not many. My favourite is
But that's
documentaries.
Fine. That's fine.
So Making a Murderer and Ted Bundy are on there.
Making a Murderer is the one that started it all.
Yeah.
When that came out, I watched it. Well, it's very heavy going, so I didn't watch it straight away, but I watched it in a day, and I had an essay to write, but I still did it.
No regrets.
No, I got a 60 for that, I think. So, yeah, Making a Murderer started it all. Watch the second season if you haven't already, because it gets way more interested. It's not as intense as the first one, but yeah, it's great. And then I watched it like 3 times with other people, because I was like, you have to watch this. And then I really think that Making a Murderer is the one that kicked it all off. Like, there was so many tweets about it and so many like posts.
Yeah, I definitely remember just it being everywhere.
Yeah, me and my dad sat down and we actually wrote out a conspiracy, well, a theory that we had.
Yeah, well, a lot of that's changed since the second series.
Yeah.
What you think
Isn't
all changes.
Yeah. And then Ted Bundy is like the latest crime documentary that's come out that's been as big as, or is along those lines.
I think it's almost as big. Everyone's talking about it.
Now the movie as well.
But apparently there's lots that have been left out of it. There's like so many details
Well,
about.
what I would have been far more interested in, I'd have loved if they'd done another episode where they talked about his backstory and his psychology more, because his psychology was kind of just left as an aside. Like, well, to be fair, he didn't really get properly assessed, but it wasn't until his court hearing and stuff that he got analysed by, and this woman said, okay, he's got manic depression, and he's been having manic episodes, which is when he was conducting his own defence and stuff.
God, yeah.
That was disturbing to watch.
That was disgusting.
Yeah.
And then a brief mention of the fact that he was abused by his granddad.
Yeah.
But they didn't go into that, and I don't know if they just couldn't gather enough evidence or why. But
and they didn't talk about the fact that many of his police officers who were watching him in the prison genuinely felt bad for him when he got,
That's
sent
crazy,
to the chair.
That's crazy.
They felt bad for him. They didn't think that he should be there.
Yeah.
But then there was masses of crowds outside of people like being like, oh.
Well, do you remember what the judge said to him when he sentenced him?
Yes,
Sentenced
he
him
was like,
definitely.
you
was
seem
like
a good guy.
Yeah, you seem like a good guy. You've got a bright head on your shoulders. It's obviously come the wrong way and you've took a crossroad and I'm sorry to execute you, but I would have loved to work
Have
with
you on
you,
our
basically.
team, yeah.
I was like, that's a bit... Sorry, Ed.
No, it's alright.
But it was a bit of a strange thing to say to somebody who you just sentenced to death.
I think what it was is that the criminal profiling was so weak back then, and I think everyone in the 70s in America, it seemed, had this idea that a criminal or a mass murderer was someone who literally was, insane, shaking the bars of their cell, this maniac, and the fact that he was just this kind of, he had a great composure about him most of the time, Ted Bundy. And obviously he just looked like an average white guy who was relatively well educated and stuff, and
attractive as well, and very charming.
Yeah, and so I think, and that's why a lot of people are like, oh, he was innocent, blah blah blah. I think nowadays a judge would never say that to him. I think, and everyone would be like, not give him the benefit of the doubt whatsoever that he did back then, but everyone was just a bit dumb in the 70s, to be honest.
It was 70s.
He was
74.
the changing point. Like, serial killer became a term.
Yeah.
And people looked outside of the box.
Then as well.
But he wasn't
I
killing
think
lots of people. He made other people
kill them.
Hypnotising them as such.
I was straight after I watched that Ted Bundy, obviously Netflix pops up and it's like, oh, here are some recommended ones. And one of them was a film, and it was a documentary. And it was about this woman that got abducted, and he was like a child molester, obsessed with this one girl, and he convinced her she was abducted by aliens and that her whole family was going to die unless she got pregnant by him or something completely messed up like that. And that was in the 70s as well, and he got away with it twice. He kidnapped her twice.
Yeah.
In the 70s they just didn't have communication, because obviously he was travelling to Mexico, where it's legal to marry women at 12.
Oh, God.
That's crazy.
And they just got away with it.
And obviously Ted Bundy went missing for well over a month because in between states you just could not communicate. It was on paperwork.
He escaped twice.
You'd have to ring on the old phones, and it takes you 5 minutes to call the number. It's just it was impossible. Obviously now technology and whatever, but it must have been a difficult time. And during that time, people were so free. People would have all their doors open, and it was such an easy time for criminals.
Yeah,
it was. Genuinely, people had too much trust in each other. And I know that sounds really bad, but the sorority girls that were being interviewed, they were saying, "Oh, we're really scared. We started locking our door."
Yes,
it was like, Jesus, why not? Why weren't you doing that before?
Crazy.
I'm gonna pick up on your point about the whole serial killer thing, and just quickly mention a show. I won't go into much detail of it because I want to move on to something more lighter-hearted. But Beth recommended me this Mindhunter.
Yes,
We're going to watch that next.
Yeah.
So
Mindhunter.
no spoilers.
No, I won't say anything.
Oh yeah, good.
Anything. It's just highly recommended. It's a real deep dive into the minds of psychopath and sociopaths.
Well, there is also a story of the two. It's not entirely that. There is their own lives that get explored and stuff.
Which is also fantastic.
But the characters are
they're incredibly
I love the
interesting.
main character. He's a bit of a...
So they're characters, they're not real people.
So the main guy, who is, what's his name, Jonathan Groff, he is based off an actual FBI guy, and I think he was in that Ted Bundy documentary, if I think I got the right guy. But he was real, and he wrote a book and it's based on a book. They've changed his name, the main character, but he like it's based on reality basically. So yeah,
Cool.
But yeah, highly recommend Mindhunter.
Love stuff like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Shall
Fun and
we?
light-hearted.
So, I'm going to pick one of my favourite comedies, which we all love, and we all love it, and we love quoting it. IT Crowd.
Yeah.
IT Crowd.
Another British one.
Yeah, another British one. IT Crowd, I think, is just genius.
Genius.
Back to front. I haven't seen the 45-minute special, and I refuse to. But season 1 through to 4 is just genius. There are a number of episodes that are just stick in my mind. I can relate to pretty much any scenario. And Richard Ayoade.
You can relate
to wanting to build moths a ladder.
Yes, I can relate any scene to or any quote pretty much.
To be honest,
we
a real
quote
life
it
scenario
all the time.
Ed especially.
I quote it far too much for my own good, and I love it, and I will never stop quoting it. I think it's a work of genius.
Yeah, it really is. There's just something about it. I don't know what it is. It's just has the best quotes. It has such surreal comedy, which is
I love it.
I don't know where I'm going. Just watch it, guys. It is fantastic.
I can't get enough of it. I bloody love it.
It's a shame Graham Linehan,
his Twitter.
He's a bit of a prick.
Yeah, he is.
Unfortunately.
No,
Well,
I don't follow him.
No, me neither. But just from what I hear. But if you ignore that, we just.
It's a great show.
It's a great show.
There's Father Ted as well, which is good.
Oh, right.
I'm watching that.
British comedy shows are something else. They are so unique, and I don't think. Well, I've seen other people comment on underneath videos and things like that from America, but I genuinely don't think other people get English humour.
I think the opposite. I think it's really popular.
British comedies.
America loves it, but I think also it goes. European people quite like it as well. Like,
but no one else can create it. No
No,
one
they
else can
can't.
replicate
They tried to
it.
replicate IT. They tried to do a copy of IT Crowd and In-Betweeners.
Ugh.
It just does
Both
not work,
fails.
does it? It's too British.
Another.
Yeah.
Coming back to British.
Is it not someone
Comedies.
else's turn?
I just want to add on to yours before
Okay.
we get lost in the mix. I just want to give a shout out to Spaced.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, which I just
Simon-
started watching.
Simon Pegg's first gig. Pure genius. It's him in. Edgar Wright directs it, and it is like pure, untouched Simon Pegg doing what he wants with
Jessica
Hines, and Nick Frost as well. He's there, and loads of other faces that you've probably seen in Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead and things like that. And it's just brilliant. It's just absolutely fantastic. I think it is. Like, I prefer that over IT Crowd.
Well.
Really?
Oh, that's an interesting.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
Speaking, we said that Americans can't replicate English TV shows. The Office.
Ooh, good
Oh.
segue.
Oh, nice segue. Although
Is it better?
The UK
Yes.
Office, the UK Office is brilliant.
Yeah.
If you like Ricky Gervais,
I do like Ricky Gervais, but I think I've kind of gone off. People talk about his stand-up. I don't see it.
I don't like his stand-up, but I think him in The Office, just his character, which is pretty much him. I guess.
I love the whole lack of PC thing, and him always saying the wrong thing, because that's just what it is with some of the elderly people in my family. Sometimes they're just like him, and I do like to see that. It's quite funny.
You're fired. I'm only joking.
There's a hell of a lot
crazy.
worse than that.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
But obviously, like, I prefer the US Office up until season 7.
When he leaves, when Michael Scott
As
leaves.
soon as Michael Scott leaves, it's trash. People like really trash talk season 1, but I really enjoy season 1.
Yeah, season 1's great.
Yeah. People are like,
I guess it's a little bit stiff because it's new, but
Yeah.
I think it's
Michael's
great.
coming into the scene where they all have a basketball game. That is like one of my
Yeah.
favourite episodes. How come people hate season
Wait.
1?
Basketball game.
Yeah, when they
Not the warehouse versus.
yeah.
That's in season 1.
Yeah. Look at his hair. He's got like I'm pretty
No.
sure. I might be wrong.
Okay, well,
He's
yeah,
got
IMDb's it.
he gets like a hair transplant or something. He's got really thick hair from season 2 onwards.
Yes.
Who?
Yeah.
What? Who?
Michael Scott.
Oh, really? What a hero that man is. Wow.
He's another one. just non-PC, and I love it when he quotes things that are wrong, and that's just my favourite.
Yeah. Season 1 basketball.
He
that's
is
crazy.
just the way it's done. It's fantastic.
How the turntables, etc.
I should probably watch it.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I don't know why. I
do
literally
watch
thought it was like season 2 or 3.
I haven't seen it like Amy and Beth have. They've watched every single episode. I've come in and out of it every now and then, and it's still just great.
And hasn't Steve Carell? Hasn't he aged well? He looks so
It's just
cool
a beard,
nowadays.
isn't it? It's a beard.
And then
Unlucky
glasses.
Yeah, no. He's
But anyway, The Office is also brilliant, but it is a little better than the UK version. I don't know how, but
it's the only time they've managed to do it, them Americans.
Keep trying, guys.
Well, one out of what 50.
Oh, the In-Betweeners one.
Well, In-Betweeners UK is
Let's bring
fantastic.
up In-Between.
In-Betweeners is just
That
superb.
is
That
a
is
specific. Is it still going? Do kids still watch that now?
I don't know.
it's on E4, I'm pretty sure. But
I've
it's
not
only
seen
on
it
at like
E4 in a long time.
yeah.
Well, we
not,
have been in China, Tom.
No, but it's not like prime time, is it? They always
No,
put
it's
Big Bang
it's
Theory.
at 1 a.m. It's
Ugh.
like really late
Actually,
when it pops
yes.
on. Yeah,
It's
I
on
hope
E4.
because I just remember being in like maybe year 8, year 9 during that peak time of everyone, and everyone used to stay up late and watch it, and then the next
Everyone
day at
talks about
school,
it.
everyone would quote it, and then everyone used to like Facebook pages
Oh
of
god,
quotes
yeah.
of
Oh
them.
man.
And yeah, it was far too old for us at that time because I think we were about 12, 13.
Even I was part of the feisty one. You are.
Yeah.
Club.
I saw the first film before I watched any of the TV
Me
shows.
too. Yeah, me too. Because we were
What?
too young, and my
Yeah.
parents cared for me and didn't let me watch it.
I had a TV in my room.
Oh,
Me
that's
too.
good. I didn't have one until my PS3. Anyway, yeah.
What do you think of the films?
The first one is good. The second one
Yeah.
is okay.
I didn't watch the second one.
It's
Second one
okay.
is
Is that the second one where they go to Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I turned it off
It's
after
trash.
a while. Yeah, I
Don't
just
even
couldn't do it.
bother. It's trash.
The
Honestly,
water park scene's pretty good, but other than that, it's very
No,
very
it's
below
just
par.
trash.
But yeah, the TV
First
show
one's
is
great.
just the TV show's
Although
so
they need
good.
to just can it now. They need to stop doing
They should have
reunions.
stopped at 1.
Stop doing all
Yeah.
that jazz. The cast don't care anymore.
I've just-
Clearly.
Remember the TV show?
Yeah.
Fresh Meat.
Oh, it was good.
Whoa, what was
No,
that?
Yeah.
I
Fresh
watched
Meat
it.
is brilliant.
I watched it. I
It's
loved
okay.
it, but it's not. It's not.
It's no way near on the level of the TV shows that we've mentioned.
No,
Not even
I don't think
close.
so.
I think it is.
Not
I
even
think it's
close.
really good.
I loved it.
I tried watching it again. I think I've seen it about 3 times, and on the third time, it's just like, it's okay. It's good.
Jack
There are
Whitehall's the
great
best thing in it, I
moments.
think.
There are very good
Really?
moments.
So I would just then go and watch some Jack
I
Whitehall.
just wish Simon
What
Cooper
bod?
could play more than Simon Cooper, because Simon
Yeah.
Cooper plays Simon Cooper and everything.
And everything.
Yeah, that is true.
But still, Simon Cooper and Simon Cooper as Simon Cooper is great.
No, I did like Fresh Meat. I think the cast were nice and.
It was well rounded.
Although
was
that
good.
Oregon annoyed me with
Oregon,
Professor
yeah.
Shale.
Vod is great though.
Professor
Vod's
Shales,
great.
mate.
Vod was great, and the Welsh girl. I can't remember her name. I thought she was.
Josie.
Josie. Yeah.
She was funny.
She was great. They were all great.
Yeah,
Like the whole mash
yeah.
of the team
Nah,
together.
Oregon just annoyed me
Yeah.
every
yeah.
like I think I watched like 4 or 5 episodes and I was like, no, I've got to turn this off. Like,
I think that's the point of her character, though. She is like
yeah.
she believes that she is a superior being.
Hmm.
Like in the last series, I think she walks into one of her seminars. She's like, "I'm just gonna do a brain dump, leave you to think about it," and then she like leaves, and it's like, what kind of student does that?
Okay.
Anyway,
Maybe I should watch it now that because I watched it before I went to uni.
I
Having
watched
been
it
to
during.
uni, I may watch it and connect to it a bit
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
See, I think I watched it all before going to uni. I saw it in my mind as preparation of going to uni, and
Right,
it is. To be fair, it's quite
I think
nailed
it's
on. It's
quite
pretty
accurate,
nailed on
yeah.
as to what life is like as
I like-
as a particular set of uni students. It's
Yeah.
very falls into the category like JP is the rich knobhead who can spend all of his money.
The Scottish
on,
dude as well.
The
You
geologist,
always
get one,
the
dude,
hermit, the
yeah.
hermit. He's
Howard.
great.
Howard,
Herbert.
The hermit.
A hermit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on, Ed.
Okay.
What have you got in store
Well,
for us?
I think no. Let someone else go.
No. You go on.
All right, we've spoken a lot about comedies
Mm-hmm.
now. I'm gonna pick one out.
Quick mention
So-
to just because we're on the topic of comedies and BBC, what have we been watching?
We've been watching This Country, which is a show I watched about a year ago now, and just because I'd heard a lot of, literally loads of people, well maybe 2 or 3 on my Twitter timeline saying, watch This Country, it's not getting much traction, and it was just kind of a word of mouth thing, and I had nothing else to watch, so I was like, right, I'll hop over to BBC 3, and I watched a couple of episodes, and as someone who has spent the last 10 years living in a village, I bloody loved it, because it's obviously an exaggerated version, and I don't live in the West Country, but there are some, you do get sometimes, especially as a teenager, to that level of boredom that they get to, and it's just exceptional. It's so well written. It's absolutely hilarious. It's that kind of the level of kind of like the UK Office in that everything's in the details, and like some of the storylines are just mundane and ridiculous, but Kerry and Curtin are just, their dynamic is hilarious and lovable, and yeah, if you're British and you haven't watched that, then I'd suggest it, especially if you live in a rural area or whatever that you hate, because that really,
even if you don't, like, I didn't relate to that part of the program, but just it's just hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. The characters are just the best things.
Again, like The Office, it's the awkwardness, and it's the silence and the pauses.
It's what's not said.
Yeah, in effect, yeah. It's just typical British humour, and the Americans would just not get it one bit.
Can you imagine if they remake that in America? It'd be This Country, and it'd be on like a ranch or something.
Yeah, hillbillies, wouldn't it? It just would not work like that.
Yeah, and they wouldn't be cousins; they'd be brother and sister. They'd be fucking each other. Yeah. It's a fantastic show.
Okay, so changing it up.
Well, I think we mentioned earlier that we were going to talk about Game of Thrones, so why not talk about it right now?
Let's.
Okay. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a great show.
Thank you.
There you go.
End of podcast.
Thanks for watching. See you guys. Game of Thrones. I didn't watch it until second year of university, and I ploughed right through it up until season 6, and then was watching it, and it was just, I was hooked, and it's just brilliant. Like you said, the massive cast, every character offers something different and something interesting, and it's just a great watch. Unfortunately, Amy couldn't get into it, which was a shame, because we tried our hardest. But if you don't like it, you don't like it. I gave it a fair shot.
I got to season 3.
You get to the end of...
Did I get to season 4?
End of season 3.
End
of season 3.
She watched The Red Wedding, and I thought that would have been like, oh my god, this is it now.
It was a bit like...
Turned you off, didn't it?
It did shock me a bit, but I just thought it was cringy. I just thought it was really, really cringy. I thought there were there was 3 different cringy things happening. There was like this medieval theme, which I appreciated. I could get into that very easily. But then with the whole Mother of Dragons, bringing it, that kind of like CGI dragons into it, and then the zombies or White Walkers, whatever you want to call them, it just didn't click with me. I'm just not into it.
Maybe just fantasy isn't for you then.
But I really enjoy Harry Potter. I think Harry Potter's
it's not the
amazing.
Same, is it? It's not swords and dragons and whatever. I understand if you're not into it.
Harry Potter has swords and dragons.
It has the Sword of Gryffindor and the Dragon on the Gringotts.
Medieval
Fire is the best one.
chainmail style program.
Anyway,
to be more specific,
it was a heavy load, and people, I just don't get the hype. And I don't know a single person that has watched it and hated it, other than myself. But I know a lot of people,
which is interesting.
I know a lot of people that haven't really watched it and they're just not interested in it. Maybe they'd be like me if they gave it a go, I'm not sure, but
I know a lot of people who've watched season 7 and hated season 7, and personally I don't agree, because I really enjoyed season 7 a lot. I think it's one of the best ones, because the main argument people have is that they got rid of the whole walking and talking scenes, which was used for the development of the characters and to pass the time. The characters by this point, we've trimmed down a lot. We basically killed half of the show's cast at the end of season 6. The fat had been trimmed by now. The characters had all been developed. We know where the characters were, what their aims really were. So there was no point. I understand the whole passing of time, like you could appear here and there in a matter of moments, which I can understand, but I just think it's a show about dragons, magic, stuff like that. I think just let it go and enjoy it and stop being so critical about it.
God, I think that sounded like an attack on me there.
No, it's an attack on someone I know, one of my mates from home. Just enjoy the show for what it is.
Yeah, I understand. When originally I was, like I said earlier, the whole story plot, people talking, but then also the fight scenes and the deaths. But like Ed said, yes, we've gone through 7 series now. Everyone's been developed. It's time to finish it, and I understand that. But when Varys went from he went from Westeros to Essos to Westeros in a period of about 20 minutes.
Varys.
Yeah, Varys then, okay.
The eunuch.
Varys.
Yeah. Varys. It just annoyed me. It just annoyed me a bit. Maybe I just took it a bit too personal, I
literally
guess.
didn't. Maybe it's for people like me that have to have stuff like that pointed out to them, because I didn't even notice that. Yeah. So yeah, I really liked season 7. I'm a relationship-driven person when it comes to Game of Thrones. I like to know who hates who loves who, who's getting on there, who's conflicting. So there was a lot of involvement with that. So that was what I was.
And the final 2 episodes, the battle at the lake when Daenerys comes to save the day, and then the whole dragon pit scene I was on the edge of my seat for that whole episode, and the moment when Cersei almost gets the mountain to kill Jaime was just
oh man,
I was about to cry, because if Jaime, I don't care.
We're not to spoil
you two are so gay for Jaime.
If Jaime died,
that's what I'm on
if Jaime died, I would have been really, really upset. We'll put a spoiler warning in the title.
So this means that people now know that Jaime doesn't die.
Right. Jaime's not.
I think it'll be okay. It's not like it's just come out like this month or anything, is it?
Yeah.
I'm just being over the top. Yes,
anyway,
Jaime. Love him.
And that ending has really set up this season.
Jaime's alright. Prefer him with 2 hands, but he's alright.
And now season 8, what's going to happen? Because now we know Jon's real heritage.
Yeah.
What's going to happen between her and Daenerys?
Him and Daenerys.
Daenerys is going to kill him.
There's some great theories. I have my own theories.
I think she'll try to, but he'll get on the throne.
The thing is, we also told Amy everything that happened because she'd officially given up. And then she was like, oh my god, what?
I might watch this.
I was just, no. It wasn't like, oh my god, I've got to watch it now. I was just like, Daenerys and Jon, really? Like, I just cannot see them together.
Well, completely different worlds, aren't they? He's up there, she's down there. Yeah. And he was, at the time, had a relationship with Ygritte when you were watching it.
Ygritte.
But then she died.
How did she die?
How did you have to...
Shot in the back.
This kid, no, that's the end of season 4.
Oh, it was the kid who stabbed Jon as well, wasn't
it? Yeah, Little Ollie.
Little
shit.
Anyway, moving off of Game of Thrones now. Shall we move over to America, unless anybody else wants to talk about some British shows still?
Well, we was talking about the British comedies.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about another American comedy?
I don't have one in mind.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Oh.
Okay, yeah, let's move on.
Have you not watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I haven't.
No.
But go, by all means, talk
We'll
about
make it brief.
3 of us have watched it.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is fantastic for one reason and one reason only: the characters.
Oh, I thought I was going to say Captain Holt, but yeah.
Captain Holt, number 1, he's amazing.
Oh, God,
And then the rest of them are kind of on the same level, although Scully and Hitchcock, they're a bit meh.
They still didn't make it, though. They're
and Doug Judy.
Yeah.
Doug Judy!
He's on Captain Holt level, I think.
He's just a bit less.
Yeah,
just a little bit. He's fantastic.
And then you can put Gina up there.
Gina, I love Gina.
She's left now, wasn't she?
Yeah, what's Brooklyn Nine-Nine going to be without Gina?
She was iconic.
Yeah, she really was.
She was a mood.
Parks and Rec as well. Just
throw that out there. Well, I haven't seen that.
Throw that out there. Parks and Rec. Also, the same people who made The Office as well.
Yeah.
My girlfriend got me into that, and I really enjoyed watching that.
I started watching that, and I just no attachment to them whatsoever. I think it's because I had just finished The Office US, and I was like itching for more.
Yeah.
But
And you
obviously,
tried to
no hole can
substitute
fill. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
No hole.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's
Fair
the
enough.
right saying.
I really enjoyed it front to back. It was fun. It was good fun.
Talking about American TV shows, one of my personal favourites is Jane the Virgin. I don't think anyone here has seen that.
No.
Jane the Virgin, just a quick little go watch it if you're into. There's so many different layers to it, but it's a little bit more girly. I hate saying that, but it's really funny, and it's got like a Spanish theme to it, and it's presented to you like a telenovela, and every episode is like a chapter of a book, or literally is a chapter of a book, and there's like crime and murder as well as like love and romance. It's just so well written and well put together. And the last episode of the latest season, I think it was season 4 or 5, I was like on the edge of my seat. I was so shocked. It was amazing, and there's just so much depth to it all. It's great.
It doesn't sound
So
like that.
good.
It doesn't sound like that type of show, but
It
really doesn't.
I've never gone for it, even though so many people have recommended me it. Just saying, like, just because, like you say, it just sounded a bit girly.
Yeah.
Like,
The reason why I started watching it, I was like, oh, this will just be something I have on in the background whilst I'm, doing whatever, which is what I do with Friends and like How I Met Your Mother. But this, like, you cannot do anything. You have to concentrate. Well, you don't have to, but it's just so good. There's so many characters that you need to remember. It's great.
See, I don't like having a TV show in the background. If I'm going to watch a TV show, I have to watch it.
Really?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I have to watch what is going on. Because if not,
I
you'll just
have
miss
to
it.
have something, like if I'm doing something like drawing or like doing some work or something, I have to have a TV show on in the background. It's usually something like How I Met Your Mother or Friends.
But you've seen all of that, haven't you?
Yeah,
So
I know them. I know Friends
yeah,
inside out,
that's
backwards.
fine.
Like I think Friends is just
Yeah,
pure
I
genius.
just have like music on or
yeah.
a James Acaster podcast or something like that.
I need to start listening to that.
Yeah, but I
the feeling's
can't.
good.
How can you listen to a podcast whilst you're doing things? Like I don't
the point of
absorb
them?
words. I don't know why.
You don't just sit in silence watching your TV
Yeah,
your phone screen with the podcast.
People listening to this aren't doing nothing. They're not sat down
true.
just listening to this.
Driving.
Shout out to the people that are doing nothing.
We love you still.
just staring at the 4 faces with our little apps.
just like
at the bottom.
analysing, like, is that an N or
You are valid.
yeah.
If you are doing something, leave us a comment and tell you what you are doing whilst you're watching
Interesting.
this.
I like it.
Yeah.
But if you're driving,
You're done.
don't
Yeah,
say
sorry,
anything.
Dad. Sorry, Dad.
Don't say anything.
Shiv, if you're
Good.
cleaning out your rabbits, just let us know how they're getting on.
Yeah.
What are they called?
Lupin and Freya.
Great names.
Lupin.
Love
Her
Lupin.
favourite Harry Potter character.
Oh,
It's a great
wonderful.
fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
good.
that rabbit is a little shit, but anyway, I just want to throw an American TV show out there, which you will jump on the bandwagon of,
Yep.
which is Mr. Robot, which is has become sort of come to the forefront now that Rami Malek is being nominated for an Oscar for his portrayal of Freddie Mercury. But I think I got into it when the second season was being shown, and it's just exceptional, and it's not like anything I'd ever seen before. And I kind of like, I'm sensing a theme, apart from the Simpsons or anything comedy, like I quite like gritty things, and it's definitely gritty. It's borderline depressing at times, because the main character, Elliot, we won't spoil it, but he has depression and lots of anxiety, loneliness. He has to be on medication, and he's a computer programmer at a company who has a bit of he goes on a wild ride.
It really is.
And there's a lot of
So many twists, so many turns that it blew my fucking socks off.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. I was so upset when season 3 finished, and I thought that was the final series when that finished. But there is another one coming.
Is there one more or 2 more?
I think there's one more.
Yeah. So if it's kind of like Fight Club if there was hacking.
That is a really good way to describe it. Yeah, it really is.
And you will want to blow up a MasterCard building after you watch it. So yeah, it's lots of commentary on like American politics and capitalism and all that stuff. So
it's excellent.
Very well shot.
On Amazon Prime though, so for all of you Netflix users,
I watched the first maybe 1 or 2 episodes with my flatmates. and we just kind of brushed it over and started making a murderer, and we just never really finished it. It had a good bit of promise to it, but I don't know, maybe it's me with my mad love of big casts. I don't know.
The cast is
it didn't
small.
grip me. It didn't like Breaking Bad. I loved it, but
There are
some of the
more
characters really
in
annoyed me,
Breaking Bad.
and because there was such a limited bunch of
Who
characters.
annoyed you?
Hanks,
Let me guess.
Hanks,
Let me guess.
Mrs.
Oh, I thought you were about
Skylar.
Mr. Robot.
You see, yes, she did annoy
Everyone
me.
hates Skylar.
Everyone hates Skylar, and
No, I will defend Skylar.
Good.
Well, yeah, of course,
She
of
needs
course.
because she does need defending.
She's in a bit of a tough time,
I
isn't
hate
she?
Marie much more than I hate
Oh,
Skylar.
God,
Yeah, I hate Marie.
Marie's the worst when she becomes a kleptomaniac. Like bloody hell,
and
she's off the rails.
and she's nicking stuff. Oh, it's all about
Why?
her.
Sorry. So when you watched this in sixth form, and then I started watching it, and you were like, "Oh, isn't Skylar such a bitch?" And I was like, "No, I don't think I've And you were like, "Keep watching it. She becomes such a bitch." At no point did I ever think she was a bitch. Like the worst thing she did was like
Sleep with Ted.
He'd left her.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, no,
And
he
I'm
didn't.
not saying she was right. I'm saying that he's at first he's the protagonist and the anti-hero, and then he's the villain.
Yeah,
At no point is
go on.
just like I don't see. And there's been panels where audience members have asked the actress, "Why is your character such a bitch?" And she's been like, "I don't think she is." And even Vince Gilligan himself has said, "I didn't write her as a bitch. I wrote her as like a complicated character who's kind of, she's not flawless and she's not always a victim. She has her own shit, but she's suffering at the hands of Walter at the end of the day, and she kind of is reacting to what she's given." And I just didn't see it. I just didn't see.
That's fair enough. No, I'm thinking about, because Walt is the bad guy. Walt is a bad guy who inflicts damage on his family, and so she has every
The
right
whole
to.
I fucked Ted thing, sure, that was bad, but he left her. He
left her. I do agree with you, Beth. I do agree with you.
You don't have to agree with me.
No, honestly, I do.
I know
If
what
I
you
watched
mean.
it again, Walt is the bad guy.
It'd be like 500 Days of Summer, where Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the bad guy, but Skylar and obviously Hank's Mrs. and even Hank.
I love Hank.
Hank
is great.
Can I just ask?
Annoy me.
Have you seen 500 Days of Summer?
Of course I have.
Oh, right.
I
swear
didn't know that either.
I've seen
I
it.
swear the
yeah,
other
of
day you
course
said
I've
to
seen
us that you hadn't
He
seen
hasn't
it.
seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I've seen
Oh,
it.
it's fantastic.
Yeah, I just think a lot of the situations annoy me, and I get easily irritated by the smallest of things.
I do understand, because you at the beginning you like Walt and you want Walt to win and you want Walt to. So fair enough, she stands in the way of a lot of his plans and stuff. I do understand that, but
His plans aren't good, are they? You can see why
Exactly.
she would like
Fucked Ted.
get in the way of these things, but it's just me.
I understand her motivations for doing what she did. Like, because why would she want to see her son go fatherless for most of his life? Like, that'd be awful. Anyway, Mr. Robot is fantastic.
nice, well done. Sorry guys, that was me that started that.
Mr. Robot is great. Must watch. If you don't have Amazon, just watch it on the site somewhere. Watchlegally.com.
Oh, just a quick aside. Speaking of that, they know that people watch it illegally and have actually advertised on Putlocker and things like that, because they know that people they've like, so they're okay with it. So you can go and do that.
Stuff.
So yeah.
Not funding money
Fantastic.
into a company that doesn't pay its taxes.
There
Anyway,
any other mentions from people?
I think we should wrap it up by saying what we're currently watching.
Yeah.
If anything, because I have a number of shows that I haven't mentioned on my list and would love to save it for potentially another podcast if we do come back to television, or just one that we just.
I think we'd be picking at the bones of what's
we've
left.
not
There. It might not
spoken
be as
about
juicy.
Big Mouth.
Yeah,
We'll mention this another time.
absolutely
Well, we've not
loads.
spoken about all the things we've watched as a group. I was going to reel that off. But
Yeah, man, Jesus.
Let's say one show. Yeah, let's mention a show that we're all currently watching, like on our ones. So for me, Vikings. I've just started Vikings.
So far, so good.
I've watched the first 2 episodes, and it's not what I expected. Well, obviously I expected Vikings. Like that. But the style of the show. Yeah, what? There's Vikings in this? They got long hair. The style of the show is not what I expected. I thought it was going to be like really like violent and gruesome, and like it doesn't know like whether it wants to be PG-13 or not, or if it wants to be like full on rated R. Like because in the first scene is the two brothers, the two main characters, they're fighting a few people, and like you see him stab this guy right through the chest, and then later on in the same episode there's a guy who's getting beheaded, and you don't see the head come off. So it's just like. Be one or the other. I know, but be one or the other. Like
see some blood.
Like go the full 9, or don't bother.
Well, no, they've probably got only a certain amount of gore they're allowed to show. Like they've probably got a number they have to stick to.
Run out of fake blood.
I'm pretty sure it's like a 15 or an 18 rated show, so I think they could show the heading.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, yeah. So mine is Vikings, and I'm looking forward to continue watching it.
Mine is currently Arrested Development. I started watching that because Ron Howard tweeted about it. I'm very early on with it, but so far so good. It's not gripping me. Like I'm not desperate to watch it like I was with Grace and Frankie, which is what I've just stopped watching, which is because I've powered through all 2 seasons. It's amazing. But I do like the characters. I'm only on I think I'm still on season 1, and the characters are so young.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Michael Cera.
Why was I going to say Cena then? Michael Cera is
John Cena.
He's so young in it. He looks like a baby. But yeah, I'm powering through with that, and it's a nice show to have on the background as well. I don't really have to pay attention to that, which is what I love. But also want to get into Mindhunter because of the Ted Bundy tapes and stuff.
Yes, and you will love it.
Sorry if we've hyped it up so much, but I mean.
It better be worth it. It better be worth the VPN.
It got see some
Beth
hyped up for me, and yeah, it's fucking sick.
Well, I'm currently watching Spaced. We're both kind of watching each other's recommendations, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying that. It's just, I just needed some light relief after the Ted Bundy tape. So it's a nice little one to put on. I think there's only 2 seasons though, isn't there? So.
Oh no, I think
there's 2.
3, maybe 2. I can't remember. How are you enjoying it so far?
It's good. I've had some real like laugh out loud moments. It's just
My
funny.
dad will be proud.
It's so early 2000s though. Like it's such a product of its time. Like the fashion, just everything. Like and it's filmed. Like it's so fuzzy. Like I don't know if it's just the link that I've got, but it's just awful.
It is really fuzzy.
Yeah, but it's cool to see some of Edgar Wright's very early directing, and like even the little when they go paintballing and they've got all the weapons that they're putting on them and stuff, and it's just so hot fuzz.
Yeah. It's very hot fuzz.
I'm enjoying that.
Yeah. Tom?
I'm watching Catastrophe. I'm at the end. The most recent series it's on at the moment. Yeah, my mum got me into that one.
Is that the one about the man and the woman who?
Yeah. Yeah. They have a one-night stand. It's Rob Delaney, the American comedian, who's all about
Irish
Labour.
woman.
He supports NHS and all that. And Sharon Horgan, and they're both really depressing, horrible people who come together on a one-night stand, and then she gets pregnant, and they get together.
Are they in like their 40s or something?
Yeah, late 30s. And Carrie Fisher was his mum in it. Bless her. She was really good in it, really funny. And it's just their horrible lives together, and they hate everyone, and everyone hates them, and they've got these horrible friends, and it's just lovely. The Scottish one, the Scottish guy, he is so funny. Oh my god! And then there's that American dude who was in Black Mirror for a few episodes. Yeah, so it's just a really depressing black comedy, which I love.
Brilliant.
Yeah. On that note,
all right, let's wrap up. Go on, Tom. You host. All right, I've had enough of this. Just because my balls haven't dropped yet, don't mean that you can call me out on every single voice crack I make.
And it is every single one as well. Like it doesn't get any less funny.
Yeah.
We all do it.
Apart from me.
Yeah, actually.
Oh, just grab everything.
All right.
So,
okay.
Thanks for listening, guys, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.